Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, early voting has begun. We'll let you know what you need to know to cast your early ballot. Also tonight, hear about the latest genomics research from TGen, and we'll see how pets are being used to help provide emotional therapy. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. It's report card day for Arizona schools with the State Department of Education releasing letter grade Ames results. The percentage of students passing the reading portion of the test was 79%, an increase of 1% over last year. There was no improvement in math scores, with 61% again passing the test. The number of schools receiving an A increased by a total of 75, with 65% of schools receiving an A or B. This as the number of schools getting C's and D's fell. State Superintendent of Public Instruction John Huppenthal announced the results this afternoon and emphasized why he considers the letter grade system an important tool for parents and educators.
You shine a spotlight on great superintendents, on great principals, on great teachers, and you keep the spotlight on them to let them know how much you appreciate it so you can energize their work and propagate it. You make sure that parents know about it so they can choose those schools. So if they're going to a school that doesn't have that Satan work ethic, that doesn't have that same enthusiasm, that same joy, they can make that choice.
All this on the same day that a new report ranks Arizona as having the 43rd worst school system in the country. The study was released by WalletHub.com, a website dedicated to helping consumers and small businesses make better financial decisions. The study used a variety of metrics to measure school performance. The report also ranked Arizona 37th in education output, which includes measurements on safety and the number of people who get a bachelor's degree or higher. Early voting started last week, and although casting a ballot may seem like a simple thing, there are lots of factors that come into play. Joining us now is Maricopa County Recorder Helen Purcell. It is that time of year. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Are you busy? You must be just crazy go
Just
nuts.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yes.
just a little. All right, let's get to early ballots. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions here, just kind of basic stuff. How do you request an early ballot?
Well, you can do it a couple of ways. First of all, if you were on the permanent early voting list, you don't have to request because we will just automatically send you a ballot. If you happen to be not registered in a major party, then you have to tell us, even though you're on that permanent early voting list, you have to tell us which ballot you want. Do you want Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, American Select? Or do you maybe you just want to do a city election? You can just ask us for a city ballot.
Interesting, because again, independents can choose wherever they go, but they got to choose one place.
That's right. That's
Okay,
right.
so
But they can vote in their primary, and that's the point that I think that we've gotten across this year.
yes, it's, we'll see about that. Who can request an early ballot?
Anyone that's a registered voter can request an early ballot. And you can do it if you're not on the permanent early voting list. You can do it on our website. You can call our office at 506-1511 and request it that way. But anyone can request up until the 15th of this month.
And when so that's a deadline, right?
That's the deadline to request.
What if you missed that deadline?
Then you can always go to the polls. You can go to an early voting site, and we have a number of those around the county that you can go to one of those until the Friday before the election. So you still have a few days, and if you miss all that, you can go to the polls on election day.
I think people forget sometimes. They think that, oh, I missed a deadline, I can't vote. Of course you can vote. Just go to the polls.
Absolutely.
All right. So what if you've just moved here, maybe you've got a forwarding order for your address? How does that come into play?
I'm missing what you're saying.
Well, let's say that you've moved and you got a forwarding order with the post office. Is that enough to get everything election related and registration related sent?
Not your ballot.
Not your ballot.
We cannot, a ballot is not forwarded. It will come back to us. If you're not at that address any longer, it'll come back to us. So if you didn't get your ballot, then you need to contact us.
So if you've moved and you haven't updated your registration?
That's right.
So basically a
Then you
post office and an MVD for all that kind of change, not good enough.
Not good enough. If you haven't updated that registration, not good enough.
Okay, so let's say you've requested the early ballot. Can you learn if you're registered on? You can learn if you're registered on the.
Absolutely. You can go to our website. You can go to the Secretary of State's website and find out if you're registered.
Okay. How do you cast an early ballot?
Well, we sent them out this year in bright yellow envelopes. So you take that ballot out of the envelope and you vote the ballot. You can look at a sample ballot online if you want to, because there are sample ballots online, but you take that ballot out. We want you to study it. You've gotten a lot of information in the mail and so forth. Vote that ballot, put it back in another yellow envelope, and send it back to us. Be sure you sign and date the outside of that envelope.
Now, am I correct in assuming that you can't just use any old pen? You can't use like a red ink or permanent ink on these?
Red ink will not show up on our computers. So you need to use, we suggest a black pen. It doesn't have to be a felt tip like we use at the polling places, but just a regular black pen.
And the idea is to connect those two sides.
Just connect them. You don't have to scrub it or anything like that. Just connect.
You don't have to make an artwork out of it, just
No.
connect them. What if you make a mistake? You're sitting there at home and, oh my goodness, I just voted for the wrong person.
You let us know, and if you send it back to us and say, I need a duplicate ballot, or give us a call, and we will make sure that that first ballot does not count, and we'll reissue you a ballot.
Okay, that bright yellow envelope, what if the dog eats it, or what if you lose it? What happens if you lose the envelope?
There again, you have to let us know. So, because we have to have an envelope coming back that's got your signature and the date on it. So we can replace that if we need to.
And as far as, again, early ballots having to be received, that date is?
They have to be received by Election Day.
By Election Day.
7 o'clock on election night. If you have not dropped your early ballot in the mail, and I wouldn't put it in the mail after the 20th of August. If you haven't done it by then, you can drop it off at any polling place, and that will be received in our office that night.
And you say the 20th, that would be a few days at least.
Six days before the election.
Is that because postmarks don't count?
No, postmarks do not count in Arizona.
Interesting. Can you check your status of your ballot? If you go ahead and mailed it on in, can you see, did you get it, did you get it?
Absolutely.
You can?
Yes, you can check online.
Wow, all right. Casting early ballots on Election Day, how does that work?
As I said, you can drop them off at any polling place on Election Day. Those are the first ballots that we take care of, are those early ballots that have been turned in on Election Day, either in the mail or at a polling place. And those have to be processed. And then we get to the provisional ballots.
Yes.
If there's some reason that you had to vote a provisional ballot, we want to make sure first that you haven't voted that early ballot if you ordered it. And then we will process your provisional after we process the early ballots.
And as you said, signed and sealed in that envelope.
That's correct.
Now, if you haven't cast a ballot, you requested the early ballot, you got the early ballot. You haven't cast the ballot, you still go to the polls, you got to do that provisional thing again, don't you?
That's correct. If you don't have that ballot with you, you have to vote a provisional ballot.
And what does that entail? What does that involve?
It's just we have provisional ballot tables that you can go to, and this year there's going to be a change at the polling place because we have electronic poll books. So you walk into a polling place with your identification, let's say your driver's license or your voter registration card, you swipe it through the reader and your name will automatically pop up. If you're in the wrong place, as we have had people do before, and you want to get to your right polling place, the electronic poll book will print out a receipt for you that tells you where your polling place is and give you cross streets to get there.
Oh my goodness, that is quite an improvement, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
A brave new world out there at the
Yes,
polling
it is.
place. As far as this permanent early voting list, how do you get on it again? I need better information on that because that one seems like it's kind of controversial. How do you get on it, and is it still okay if you miss a few? Because I thought the law, they were trying to push that through, but I don't think that made it through, did it?
It's still okay if you miss a few.
Yeah.
We do not change your status for the fact that you haven't participated in an election. We'll change it if you move because then
Right.
we can't deal with you anymore. But anybody can call us. Anybody can re-up go to Service Arizona and say I want an early ballot. You can go to our recorder's website and say I want an early ballot. There are any number of ways you can do that.
Okay, the question you get most often regarding early voting, what do you hear most often?
Oh, I think that, I didn't get my early ballot. We've had already at our call center, I had people, my husband got his and I didn't get mine.
Yeah.
Well, you're not on the permanent early voting list, and your husband was. So now you can order it and we'll send it to you. But why haven't I gotten a ballot?
Right.
My neighbor got a ballot, why didn't I get one? Well, you haven't signed up for one.
Interesting.
So those are the kind of questions.
Okay, and as far
And
as
neighbors do talk to one another, apparently.
oh, apparently they do. Oh, I'm sure they do. But and as far as again independent voters, because that's such an interesting aspect of the election. What do they need to know?
Well, we've concentrated on that this year. Let them know that they can vote. Let them know that they have to let us know. So we sent them a 90-day notice to telling them they need to tell us which ballot they want. And then we again sent them a 33-day notice, again telling them, we haven't heard from you yet. We would like to hear from you. Now, we've had about almost 60,000 of those people that have requested a ballot for the particular party they want, which is a lot more than we even had participate in the 2012 election. We only had about 43,000 participate in the whole 2012 election.
And you, of course, are hoping that they return the envelope in the mail and don't come in there with those provisionals, because that makes for late counting, doesn't it?
Yes, that's the one problem that we have, and that's what we're trying to alleviate with the work that we've done up to now.
Well, all right. It sounds like all systems are go, as they say. We'll see just how far they go. Always a pleasure. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Tonight's edition of Arizona's Future looks at how cutting-edge genomics research is being conducted on a daily basis in downtown Phoenix at the Translational Genomics Research Institute, or TGen. Dr. Michael Behrens, TGen's Deputy Director for Research Resources, is joining us now. It's good to have you here. There's so much to get to, but let's start with a definition. What is the human genome?
Well, we all have one. We're humans. It's really our code of instructions of how we move from being a single cell at conception to becoming a complicated, self-renewing human being. It's our genetic instruction. We believe it's the medical textbook of the future as we've learned how to read it in the last 10 years or so.
Is it pretty much like digitizing, whatever the word is, the human body? I mean, it sounds like that's what it involves.
Well, it's the code behind what we see in the human body. So a digital code is, for the computer people in the audience, they're a 0 and a 1.
Yeah.
The genetic code has, instead of just 2 components, 0 and 1, it has 4. There's 4 building blocks that make up the genetic code. And it's very similar to that. It's very easy to read now that we've sequenced it, and it's exciting. It gives us a way to look at human disease.
Yeah, those 4 things. High school biology is starting to rear its ugly head. Okay, the impact of genomics research on neurological disorders, neurological diseases. What's happening downtown?
Wow, it's an exciting time. I think one of the most exciting things that we've seen in the last maybe 2 to 3 years that's come forth out of TGen has been a strategy to better understand people who let us look at their genetic code in the context of how their memory works. So TGen has a website that's called mindcrowd.org, and we've had over 30,000 people come onto that website, and they take a memory test, very simple, and then we can follow up and ask them for a cheek swab where we can get DNA, and we can start to look for events that would correlate with memory behavior. And there have been some amazingly exciting things. We're very interested in a healthy aging brain as well as a brain that doesn't age well. We all know people with dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and so looking at the extremes, we gain great insight into the genetic basis of those disorders.
And I would also imagine that things like autism, bipolar, involves kids as well.
It does. Understanding how the brain develops has a lot to do with how it functions I'm very proud, and I think the whole Arizona community should be proud of TGen's Center for Rare Childhood Disorders. These are families with children that have been on medical legacies looking for some diagnosis, and now TGen's able to sequence the genetics of the kids and the family and start to identify events that could account for those problems. Many, many times diseases that we don't even have a name for because of their rarity, and we can find guidance on how to better care for those little ones. So that is a huge blessing for the state.
Also, I understand looking for biomarkers as far as concussion-related injuries are concerned to athletes and those who wind up with head-related injuries.
Well, athletes, but just humans on the planet that get bumped, fall off a bicycle, or in some kind of altercation. We're very interested to know how severe was the event. Right now, it's very descriptive, and the neurologist and the ER staff have to work with kind of soft metrics, but we're now looking for biomarkers that might even be a saliva test to determine how severe a head injury, should an athlete not re-enter a game, take some time off. So we think we're going to have healthier people as we understand these markers for the bumps.
So in coming years, athlete gets injured, goes to the sidelines, do a little swab activity, and you might be able to, in the coming years, try to figure out whether that athlete should be back on the field or not.
Correct. We want to keep athletes healthy and strong, and if there's been a severe event, you would want to know and let them get back into the game when they're fully recovered from those.
The pathogen genomic studies in Flagstaff, what is that all about? And again, that sounds like it's everything from valley fever to HIV to plague, all points in between.
Well, it's a phenomenal, focused, but very diverse team that work with us as part of TGen's program at TGen North, our pathogen genomics division. We work with the Flagstaff community and with Northern Arizona University on these pathogens. Actually, in our body, Ted, there are more microbes than there are cells that are me. It's a little bit of a bizarre thought, but there are lots of microorganisms. Some of them are critical for the health of my body. We tend to think, it's a bug, it's bad, don't let it in. But having healthy microorganisms or a healthy microbiome can have huge influences on gastrointestinal health, and we want to learn better about how these things work. So that's a fantastic resource that leverages the genomic strength of TGen.
That's that whole probiotics kind of thing there, right?
Correct. Well, that's the strategy, that if you have a healthy gut, you're going to have a much healthier body.
And again, as far as the genomic impact of that, and things like kidney disease and diabetes, the genomic impact specifically on those, what are you seeing out there?
Well, we're better understanding subgroupings of a disease. So diabetes affects 26 million people in the United States. That's massive. If we could understand subgroupings and patients who respond to behavioral modification or behavioral input versus those that need real restricted kind of dietary regimens, those would be very helpful and give us more success in helping people get through that lifestyle kind of disease that can represent.
Kind of understanding why some people who are diagnosed with diabetes, they go on a diet, everything kind of gets back to normal, or at least is treated, and some folks, you just can't seem to treat them.
That's correct. It's a whole range of who's most vulnerable, and then there's grades of that. And so we want to better understand how we can better bring the right medicine to the right patient based on genomics.
Let's talk about cancer research. How is TGen approaching cancer research? Is it with an elephant gun? Is it a tent the whole, or are you starting to narrow things down there?
I really hope that when people look at what TGen's doing in 2014 and we look in the rearview mirror down the road, we'll go, wow, they got out their lasers and we took a very fine look at what makes a tumor vulnerable to the therapies we have today, and how do you get the right chemotherapy or the right targeted therapeutic to the specific individual patients so that you are most likely to hurt the tumor without hurting the patient. And that's a fantastically exciting opportunity.
Does that opportunity change when you deal with kids as opposed to the folks in middle age, as opposed to folks in later age?
It actually does. The genetic noise in a cancer in an older person is large. There are an enormous number of genetic events in cancers from older people. We've been around a longer time, we've been exposed to more environmental agents, cosmic rays, various things. And so those genomes of those cancers are very complicated. It's tough to say who's the driver event and what do we design the therapy around. Tumors in children tend to be what we call quiet. There's very little noise. It's hard to decide, well, how is that even a cancer? And so it's an amazing contrast between pediatric cancers and adult cancers. But every time we study the whole genome of a cancer, we learn about the disease and we learn about things that can affect the next patient. So it's so important that these patients, who to me are the heroes, they help us understand the disease.
Well, that's interesting, but I think most people think that when you're born, you got your genomic makeup and your human genome is set in stone, that's it never changes. Are you saying it does change?
Well, it does. Our genome is affected by environmental agents, by our diet. Not necessarily the sequence of the genome, that those are cause mutations, but they modify how the genes can get informed or unpacked to be used by cells. In the case of cancers, there are frank mutations and rearrangements and restructuring that take place, just terribly damaging events in a very complicated system. And those changes point us in directions of how to treat the disease.
So this is fascinating stuff. So when you consider the future, our series is looking at the future of a variety of things. When you look at the future of medicine, what do you see?
Well, I hope that my kids have physicians that are trained in the practice of precision medicine, that they understand that you get a histological or the tissue diagnosis of the disease, but also a genomic fingerprint of the disease. Did it come from my mom and dad? And so we have certain insights, but also if there's changes in the disease tissue, what can be done specifically to match a therapy to that event? And so I'm excited. Our Arizona medical schools are training the physicians of tomorrow who are going to be groomed for this kind of practice.
Well, it indeed is exciting. Great information. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful to be here. Thanks.
In tonight's Focus on Arizona Giving and Leading, producer Christina Estes and photographer E.J. Hernandez show us how a Phoenix-based program is creating unique friendships.
Inside the chapel at the Good Samaritan Society's Peoria campus, Myrtle Clark is preparing for a special visitor.
This is only the second time I saw her.
Meet Myrtle's newest friend. At 4 years old, Lily is much younger than Myrtle. At 30 inches tall, she's also much shorter. But the differences don't matter much.
Yes, you're a sweet little thing.
Lily is part of Pet Connections, a Hospice of the Valley program where specially trained therapy teams visit nursing facilities and patients' homes.
Hell, she's used to being around people.
Brooke Mortensen is Lily's partner.
People ask me all the time, you know, did I train Lily to do this? And no, I didn't train her to do this. I think it's just her calling in life, and I think she enjoys it.
Yes, you are so
It's not just Lily's personality that generates smiles, it's also what she wears.
Those shoes I can't get over. I love horses. I always did from little on. My dad had 2 horses always for on a route, and they were regular pets.
This brings them all the benefits and joys of pet companionship without the burdens of ownership.
Ann Roseman plays matchmaker for patients and pets.
We want to make sure that all the animals visiting for us have lovely, even, and predictable temperaments, even in unpredictable and random circumstances.
Oh, you're so soft, you're like a kitty. You're like a kitty bitty. There you go. Look at that baby dance.
Employees at Hospice of the Valley's Phoenix office also enjoy the benefits of pet therapy.
How precious are you?
Every month, pets like Snickers show up to spread joy and collect treats.
It's all about this, and we know it. Yeah. Oh. Come on.
Let's go visit.
Snickers and his partner Ann Kendall are among nearly 200 therapy teams. They've been making weekly visits for a couple years.
You go in to a group home or a palliative care setting, and maybe someone's not having a very good day, and once they see Snickers and you see that big grin or smile on their face or their reaction, they've kind of forgotten their troubles for that few minutes that you're there with them. And that's what we're all about.
These are people sometimes that don't recognize their families anymore, but they'll know, oh, it's Snickers Day today. They'll know what that means.
Thanks for coming by. Made my day.
Lily will make about 100 visits this year, each one touching more than the patient.
She teaches me compassion and service, and she just has unconditional love for anybody that she meets.
The Pet Connection program also includes cats and rabbits. Find out more at hov.org. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust. Committed to changing lives and strengthening community through investments in nonprofits and strategic initiatives. More information at pipertrust.org.